Who wants to ask all the easy questions?
Tiernan, maybe we could start with just asking how you feel about your big stage debut this week.
Excited. It's one of those games that, as I've said now a million times leading into last week and this week, that it's something that we've waited a long time for as a football club. And before we went out onto the pitch last week, that was one of the big things that we tried to reiterate, that the amount of work and effort and commitment that has went into this, that it's a must that we enjoy it and make the most of it.
And you talked last week, Tiernan, about how the players maybe showed those bit of nerves in the first half, which, given there's a lot of hype around the game, obviously such a huge occasion for Larne, it was maybe almost to be expected. Has it been, in a way, almost a bit easier, Tiernan, to prepare for this game, having got the first one out of the way?
Yeah, there's been a real. It's kind of felt a bit like when you're preparing the team for probably the last 4 or 5 games of the season, where there was a real buzz in everything that we were doing, and the tempo of training was through the roof, and there was, as I say, there was an excitement about everything: presentations, pitch sessions, analysis, and the boys are buzzing, and the big thing now is getting back out onto that pitch and having another go.
Can you just give us an idea, Tiernan? I mean, you've come through the first leg, that things were so close. Can you give us an idea of what it would mean if the club were able to get through tomorrow night?
Listen, I'm not one for starting to speculate or looking too far ahead. My job is very much about the process and making sure that we go into that with a wee bit more belief in ourselves and a little bit more confidence in our ability, and trying to get us to understand that we need to be able to understand we want to belong at this level, and we want to go into these games with real confidence. And that's probably my biggest job, not so much looking to see what happens next or how much it means, because you could fall very flat in your face.
Cheers, Tiernan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tiernan, just something to sort of follow up on what Mark said there. You said the first half last week was probably players wee bit in awe maybe of the occasion and the first time in the Champions League. Was that then coming off that second 45-minute performance? That's the big positive to sort of build on for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think we got a sucker punch, obviously. Last week we had a very specific game plan, and we'd watched HJK play on a number of occasions, and we knew if we had tried to stay in the game as long as we could, that they seem to be a team that comes out a little bit more, a wee bit more expansive, and going 1-0 down after 90 seconds probably give them that opportunity to be a wee bit more conservative in what they do and how they done it. And as I said last week, there was definitely an element of awe about us. We got shaken a little bit because of the start. In the first half, we out of possession. I thought we were outstanding. The shape that we had about us, they carried out the game plan, as I said, they have fine art. We could have been a wee bit braver in possession, and I think the longer the game went on, we started to show that bravery, and we started to grow into the game a little bit more and find a wee bit more confidence in what we done. And we obviously we created chances, as you probably seen. If there was one criticism of them, that maybe we weren't a little bit more clinical. But again, and I keep saying this, and it's not to make excuses, or it's not to try and take anything away from anybody else, but that was our first competitive game, and you putting players in that situation against such a high opposition, it's not easy. If Leroy Miller had 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 games under his belt, could that have been different? Lee Bonus was the same. Andy Ryan was the same in putting those positions. So we couldn't be more proud of the performance they put in. But we know that there's a huge room for improvement for us.
And just lastly from me, in terms of, I know something Mark said earlier on about, what would it mean to get through, but in terms of the actual match itself, There's certainly no, when if you look at that draw and you're going, that's a tough draw initially, but you're coming away disappointed with the result, after the first round. Does that sort of again feed into what you said to the players before tomorrow night, going, there's absolutely no reason to fear HJK tomorrow night?
I don't know if disappointed or probably frustrated is the word that we would have used. There was so many positives in the performance. As I say, out of possession, and as the game went on, and we were probably frustrated that conceding the penalty when we did, putting ourselves in the back foot. We were probably frustrated we weren't a wee bit more clinical. We were probably frustrated we weren't a wee bit more braver at times. But as I say, hopefully it gives us a little bit of confidence going into the next week. And we as a club and we as a league, I think we probably underestimate ourselves. And I'm not just talking about Larne here, I'm talking about all the clubs representing the league in Europe at the moment. I think we need to start to believe in ourselves a wee bit more. And there's no easy games. If somebody can find me an easy game in the Champions League, stick our name down. But as I say, in Europe, I don't think there are too many easy games. But I do genuinely think that as an association and as a league, I do think we need to have a wee bit more belief in ourselves and back ourselves a little bit more and have a wee bit more confidence in what we're capable of.
100%. Thanks, Tiernan.
Tiernan, just following on from that, you spoke last week after the game about saying to the players, did they believe they belong on this stage? Is that sort of been the message you've been reinforcing again this week?
Yeah, as I say, I think that our league, I'm biased and I'm going to tell you our league's the best league in the world, but I think that there's so many good teams and so many good players in our league that when you go into these European competitions, if we can just find that wee bit more belief in what we do and how we do it, I think that it would make a massive difference outcome, us included. That if we had been in that game maybe a wee bit more belief and a wee bit more confidence, then I think it may have been a different outcome. And that's not to take anything away from HJK. They're a superb side. They played, as you've probably seen, some really, really good football of top players. So I'm not saying it would have been easier, but it definitely would maybe had a different outcome.
Does the change of manager make things a bit more difficult for you, Tiernan, in terms of your preparation, how they might change themselves or anything?
I'm led to believe, and Stevie, I don't pretend to know a huge amount, but I'm led to believe that he was assistant manager there, and whether in 6 or 7 days he'll go in and make major changes, I don't know. You always try and put yourself in that person's shoes and think, if it was me, what would I do? And I think there's probably an element of 1-0 up, and we have to kind of ask, will they come out and have a go, or will they sit back in and protect the 1-0 lead? And you have to try and kind of look at game plans for both situations. And will he rip up what they do and go slightly different? Again, what we have to just do is try and put all those obstacles out there, and what will we try and do if they play like this or if they play like that.
Finally for me, Tiernan, just about Dylan Sloan. He's a young man who's really hit the ground running this summer. I'm sure you're delighted with the performances, particularly last week. He was excellent on the big stage.
Yeah, Dylan's a top young player and a real talent, and I think what we have to just now be very conscious of is what comes with youth can be inconsistency, and that this will be a process with Dylan. You're probably not going to get that every week. There will be ups and downs and goods and bads. As I say, as far as his performance was concerned last week, the kid just went in there and he was fearless. He got on the ball, he was brave, he was good in possession, he was good out of possession, and he was our man of the match performance. And it's something that we hope we can go and build on with him, and he can go from strength to strength. He definitely has the tools.
Thanks, Tiernan. All the best for tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Tiernan. Just like, do you feel the gap now is closing between our Irish League teams and the teams in Europe? We had 4 really good results last week, so do you sort of feel like gap is closing now?
I do, yeah. I obviously didn't see any of the games last week, but as you say, you look at the results, and I do definitely think that gap will close. I'm going to throw my summer football hat in the ring again, and I think if you looked at if we were 12, 14, 16 games in, I think we would have an even better opportunity. It's extremely difficult setting a team up to go and play Champions League or Europa League or Conference League without any competitive games. But I think it just shows you the mark of where we are as a league when you look at some of the other results and how well the other team's done. And I think we just need to give ourselves every opportunity to go and kick on in Europe.
I know he's not playing tomorrow night, but how happy are you to get Levi in?
Delighted. He's a kid that I spoke to about 5 or 6 years ago when I first came in the doors. He had just come back from England, and he was in a great place, and we tried to get him back then. He probably didn't believe all the things that I told him, and I think, as he said yesterday, we went on and fulfilled all the things that we said we were going to try and do. And to get him in at this stage to really help strengthen our team and our squad and where we want to go and what we want to do, I think he'll be a tremendous addition.
Yeah. What were the main attributes you see in him that you really wanted to go after? Because he's really one of them this summer. So what were the sort of main attributes you seen in him that will really improve the squad?
I think that the big thing for Larne as a team and as a club right now is that we want to try, and we've had a little taste for Champions League football. We've had a little taste of success in the league, and it's something that we want to try and get a little bit more of. And we're fully aware that in this league, and because of the competition in this league and so many good teams and managers and players, that there's certainly no foregone conclusion. You have to work at it. You have to try and surround yourself with the best players. And I think that Levi is one of those players that will give us every chance to go and try and do the same again and try and keep ourselves where we are. As I say, we know it's going to be extremely difficult, but to give yourself every chance, you got to get the best players in the doors.
Cheers, all the best tomorrow, Tiernan.
Thank you.
Hi, Tiernan, you okay?
How are you?
I am. Can I just get a sense from you? We talk about how much the players enjoy playing in Europe. It's a great privilege for them. As a coach and manager, do you find as well it's kind of an educational experience for yourself coming up against different teams, different stadiums, different cultures? Do you also learn a lot in that environment?
To be honest with you, Graham, we love this time of the year. With playing against all the things that you talked about there, different teams, trying to understand their style, trying to understand the formations that they play, trying to understand the culture. And a lot of these teams that you normally play in Europe, they're all very football orientated, and it becomes a tactical game, probably more so than a physical game. And it's a great challenge as a manager and as a coaching staff and a group of players to go and test yourself at that level. And I think anybody who was involved last week at Helsinki, 8,000 or 10,000 people, an unbelievable atmosphere, a beautiful night, it's very hard not to want to be in those situations.
Just a quick one on Lee Bonus. He signed a new contract, which was good news. You're still seeing Lee a player with great potential at club and international level. If he keeps improving and has another great season, we still got the world at his feet. Yeah,
listen, as I've said all along, Lee's a great kid. Lee's biggest attribute, as well as all his talent, is his work ethic and his attitude, and how good of a kid he is and how much he wants to learn and get better and improve. And as I keep telling Lee, it's all in front of him. He hasn't done a huge amount in the game at this stage, but he potentially can. And he has all the attributes to go on and be a top player. And I've no doubt that if he continues to do the things that he's done up to now, I don't see why he won't remain an international. I don't see why he won't get that move.
Okay, cheers, Tiernan. Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, Graham.
Good luck tomorrow night, Tiernan.
Thank you very much, boys. Thanks. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Tomas, how you doing? Are you all right?
How are you, boys? All good. All good.
Oh, only one place to start. We'll try to start here with your manager, but he interpreted the question a different way. How do you feel after your big musical debut this week?
I was loving it. Absolutely, I'm raging at the media team here. I'm just giving them all daggers. They've absolutely threw me under the bus. I think I got it worse than Levi Aves, to be honest.
You happy with your moves, were you?
It was decent. I've ruined Dirty Dancing for the missus, that's what she said, so I'm kind of happy at that. Don't have to watch it ever again.
Well, here, outstanding social media videos aside, I mean, what can you give us an idea, Tomas, of what the mood amongst the players is like going into such a big game tomorrow night?
I'd say we're confident and we're very positive. If you look at the game last week, everyone expected us to get beat 5 or 6. Let's be honest here, but we've shown we're more than capable of matching this team, and to get them home with a game and the tie still intact. Anything can happen on the night. You've seen a couple of years ago when we played our house what we can do with a crowd behind us. So hopefully we can have another magical night like that.
Yeah, do you think, Tomas, the kind of almost the approach has shifted a wee bit? Obviously, you get into the game last week. You said yourself there probably a lot of people did expect maybe a fairly comfortable Helsinki win and maybe the tie to be over. But you're now going into this game with a proper realistic chance of going through. Would that be fair?
Yeah, 100%. See, to be honest, we let all the talk from the outside. Like, they were all saying 5 or 6, whatever. But see, inside, we knew how hard we've been working, the tactical analysis on the game. We've watched them a lot, and we knew where they could hurt us and how to try and stop that a bit. So hopefully the game plan will work again tomorrow night, and everyone has to be at their top game. Let's be honest, this team's quality. So hopefully we can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of rating your chances going through, Tomas, how much of a chance? How confident are you can do it?
I'm fully confident we can do it. Obviously, there's no point in turning up if you think you're going to just go out there and get hammered. Hopefully the crowd can get behind us tomorrow night, and as I said, we can hurt them. We had our chances. I think we were a bit disappointed last week because there was a few chances there, like maybe half chances where we could have tucked something, but there wasn't really much in the game apart from the penalty. I know they had lots of possession, but as we've seen the last couple of years, you can have lots of possession and not do anything with it.
Yeah. Just lastly, Tomas, obviously, everybody at Larne would love to be playing this game with Inver. We've moved, that's been long known you aren't, but you can still use home advantage as such you can still use that to your advantage, really, can't you?
Well, exactly. Well, half the team used to play for Climball, so it's like home for us. So we're all going back there. You have a lot of people coming out to watch us. Every time I go up and see my mum and stuff, there are people saying on the street they're coming to watch and stuff like that, Climball fans, because obviously all the old boys used to play for them. So yeah, I would say the fans will get behind us, and it's like Inver, it's the best you could do apart from Inver at the minute. But sure, it is what it is, and we'll make most of it.
Tomas, good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you, pal. Cheers.
Tomas, just looking at last week, what did you learn from last week, both I suppose as players, as a team, and I suppose as a club in general?
Not to be overawed in certain situations. I think that was a lot of boys' first games in European competition in the Champions League. You're playing the best of the best. They're the champions of their country, so it was a bit hard to move the ball a lot faster and stuff, and you had to get equipped to the game very quickly. So I think boys will understand that there's not much of a difference in tactical aspects of the game. It's the movement and the speed of the game that increases, and if you make a mistake, as we found out, you're punished very quickly.
Just something that when you were answering Mark there, in terms of HJK kept a hold of the ball, had a lot of possession, and that's something that you guys in the Irish League are used to as Larne. Larne are probably one of the best, if not the best, possession team in the league. How different was that? When you're used to having the ball so often in matches in the Irish League, then going away and then having to sort of be on the other side of it.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. You're coming up against opposition of that quality who keep the ball well. Like, it happens all around the world. To the best teams, if you're coming up against somebody who keeps the ball well, you have to sit in shape or you'll be punished. I thought we dealt very well with that, as you said, from being very positive and being on the ball constantly to sitting back. It was a bit strange, but I felt we let ourselves down a bit by not keeping the ball as much last week, and I think we were a bit overawed, and the penalty made a shock us a bit. So hopefully we can come out and enforce our game on them a bit.
Just lastly for me, Tomas, in terms of you, from a personal perspective, you were one of the first ones, if not the first one, to sort of to join the project, I suppose, at Larne, and you're here now and you're playing the Champions League and you're captain the team. What does it mean to you? And I suppose it's twofold, this question. What does it mean to you to be playing the Champions League for this club? And what would it mean to you to go and get a result tomorrow night and progress to the next qualifying round?
It'll be absolutely massive for me personally. It's a huge honour to be chosen to be the captain of the club. To go on and win the first league title and stuff, it was amazing when I look back on my career and I say to my little boys, like I done that before. And it'll be massive for me tomorrow to be back at Solitude, to be captain of the club in a Champions League tie, to be one of the first teams to go through. We'll do it. My little boy will be walking out with me also. So, and all, if you add everything into it, it'll be a massive night for me personally. But for the club as a whole, hopefully we can do it. And the financial reward also is massive for us in the league, and the coefficiency points, like you've seen last week, all the teams done well. And the more we can push the league on, the better the standards will get.
And if you win, will you, even though he's not playing, will you grab Levi and put him over your head? And
but we're practicing today. I think I done my hammy a bit, so. Thank you, pal.
Hi, Tomas. Has there been an extra sort of belief around the place over the past week, considering the performance he's put in last week?
You can say so. I'd say a few people were a bit disappointed, like after the game. You're happy, and it's a bit of 50-50. You're happy, but you're a bit annoyed as well because you had the chances there. I think people get caught up in certain situations, and we're away from home and first game and all of that. But yeah, I'd say the positives are. I fully believe that we can go out and get something done. I said it last week as well. I fully believe we're not coming here just to make up the numbers, and we proved we're able to compete at that level. So hopefully we can do it again tomorrow night. As I said, we need everyone at 100%.
And I know he's not playing tomorrow, but you probably know Levi quite well. So what do you think he can add to the group when he gets going?
He's a competitor. He's a winner. As you said, I've played with him a few years at Cliftonville. I know the qualities he has, and it's another competition for places. If you want to be the best, you have to strengthen when you're on top, and I think the club have went and done that, especially so far in the window where the players were brought in. So hopefully we can add a few more in for places.
And Dylan, he had a great game last week, didn't he? Like, how impressed were you with him on his European debut?
He's one who's really impressed me for coming back. He's obviously looked after himself in the summer. What you should do if you're a young player, you should be coming in as fit as you can be, as strong as you can be, and push them boys. And he's done that. He's come on leaps and bounds. He's twice the player he is since he left. I feel like the loan moves helped him playing men's football, and he sees what it's like when people's livelihoods are on the line.
Thanks, Tomas. All the best tomorrow.
Thank you, pal.
Hey, Tomas, how you doing?
How are you, pal?
Can I just, is there definitely a feeling in the group amongst this is a time to sort of seize the moment type thing? Because I think if you win this game, you're guaranteed a playoff, aren't you, into the group stages possibly? So they said there's a great prize there on offer.
Yeah, well, you seen Linfield last year, and I'll make no bones about it. I was sitting in the house watching it, and I didn't want them to be the team to do it. I wanted Larne to be the first team to do it because I'm involved in it. You want that prize at the end of the day, and it's a massive carrot for us in the club. Who knows, if you go through this round, who knows you can't go through another round, and you're guaranteed that's place. So anything can happen in these sort of games. So we're obviously looking forward to it, and as you said, it's a massive, massive prize at the end of it.
And do you feel there's now a different mentality and focus among the Irish League clubs in terms of their approach in Europe?
I'd say there's no disrespect. It's more professional, the league now. Even from when I started, it's a lot more the facilities, the training, everything. But there's technical analysis. There's people recording games constantly. You're watching stuff. It's not just going out and playing 4-4-2 anymore and hoping your boys are better than the other boys. So it's a lot more professional, and you can see that in all the results from the teams. It was brilliant to see all the teams do so well, and the coefficients go up, and it gives us better chances in Europe. I think everyone's pushing in the right direction.
The great thing about football as well is after you win a first Premiership title, some people might think that the squad might lose a bit of its hunger, a bit of its appetite for success, but you get Champions League now to go for, and I suppose you've nothing to prove, but do you understand people will ask the question, will this squad, because it's just won a title, will they be able to build on that, or will they sort of stand still or go backwards?
Well, I've always been told from as a young boy, you're only as good as your last game. So that's what people remember you. It doesn't matter how good you were last season or what. If you're not good enough this season, you'll be dropped and someone else will come in and try and take your place. And that's what I said, when you're on top, you strengthen. And the players we brought in are to compete for places. And if one's not having a good game, you're talked out and someone else is put in. And I think that's only a good thing. That's healthy for the squad also.
And do you expect the challenge next season to be even more ferocious when you look at the players that are going to other clubs as well, how the other clubs are strengthening?
Well, yeah. The league's just getting better and better each year. So, as you said, it will be strengthened again. And the boys that other teams have brought in, I feel like we've always had a target on our back just from the project we've done. And everyone wants to get one up on Larne. So, it'll be no different. And it's like every other team in the top 6, you want to beat them. And you want to be the team crowned champions at the end of the day.
Okay, cheers. All the best.
Thank you. Cheers, boys.
All right, cheers, Tomas.
You're going to have the time of your life tomorrow night, Tomas.
Love it.
You've been sitting waiting to do that all.
I know. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. See you out there, boys.